I think the traditional search model is somewhat broken for a variety of reasons. First, like most businesses, search firms are in the business to make money. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. However, they have a tendency to base their success on the number of searches that the partners bring into the firm and not so much the quality of the placement. They won't say that when they're pitching business, but that's how most search executives make their money and track their bonuses. I think that's a flaw. I don't think a recruiter's success should be based on the number of deals. Instead, I think the success should be based upon the success and tenure of the candidate. Luckily, today's companies are in a much better position to ensure that type of service when they choose a search firm. More and more companies hiring a search firm are looking for a strategic recruiter that not only focuses on the placement, but also the longevity of the candidate that they place. Years ago, before the internet, companies wanting to do a national search were somewhat beholden to the larger search firms that had multiple offices throughout the country. Those local offices had a great Rolodex, and if you could work with one of those firms, you were ensured that your search had a national or even global reach, because the partners in those geographical locations owned those relationships with many of the key executives. During this time, smaller search firms couldn't compete, and it was really hard and time-consuming to get contact information for companies and executives outside of one's immediate area. Well, the internet obviously changed all of that. Today, anybody can find anybody, and relationships are quickly formed via email and social tools like LinkedIn. Companies wanting to do a national search today have far more options than they did 20 years ago. Many recruiters are taking more of a holistic approach when it comes to recruiting. Because finding people is now the easy part, a good recruiter should be more focused on understanding the business needs of their client and the culture of the company. A good recruiter will help guide the company through a process that allows the recruiter to better understand their business and its culture. But because that process is so much easier today, a smart recruiter will invest much more time with their clients to understand the business strategy, company culture, and really guide the search process to a successful conclusion. The tools and technology of the 21st century have permanently changed the traditional executive search model. But the one thing that hasn't changed in the search business, and never will, is the art of good executive search. The ability to seek out a candidate that not only meets the functional requirements, but also is that perfect match to the company's culture. That still remains the most important part of the process. And to convince a very successful and content executive to consider another company takes a lot of finesse. That's where the true value has always been within executive search, and there's not a piece of technology out there that will ever replace the human connection and strong intuition that's required to be successful in this business.